The stars above the throne world of Xal'thera burned an unnatural violet, filtered through the immense crystalline dome that enclosed the Alien Empress's court. This was no ordinary place of rule. It was a monument to conquest. Every pillar was carved from the remnants of fallen civilizations. Every banner represented a species that had bent the knee or been erased entirely. At the center of the vast hall stood Empress Vaelith the Eternal, ruler of the Karzen Dominion, her elongated form clad in living armor that pulsed faintly with bioenergetic light. In her upper limbs, she held the scepter of Final Silence, a weapon capable of sterilizing entire star systems with a single command. Before her, restrained by gravity binds and surrounded by towering alien guards, stood a single human. His name was Elias Carter. He was not a soldier of legend, not a genetically enhanced warrior or a psychic savant. He was a diplomat, one of the last representatives of humanity after Earth's defenses had fallen and the outer colonies burned. His suit was torn, his face bruised, but his eyes remained clear, unbroken. The court was silent. "Human," Vaelith hissed, her voice echoing through translators and bone alike. "Your species has exhausted its usefulness. You resist assimilation. You refuse submission. And now, you stand as the last voice of a dying race." She raised the scepter. The crystal at its core flared, aligning with distant coordinates, Sol. "In moments," she continued, "your home star will collapse inward, taking with it every remnant of your kind. History will not even remember your name." Elias swallowed. He could feel the pressure of billions of lives bearing down on his chest. Earth, Mars, the orbital habitats, all waiting unknowing. But he did not beg. Instead, he did something no being in that hall expected. He laughed. Not loudly, not mockingly, just a soft, almost tired chuckle. The murmurs rippled instantly through the alien nobles. Vaelith's crest flared in irritation. "You find Extinction amusing?" she demanded. Elias shook his head slowly. "No, I just find it familiar." That gave her pause. "Explain." Elias straightened as much as the binds allowed. "You've studied us, Empress. You know our wars, our failures. You know how often we've stood on the edge of annihilation by our own hands." Vaelith's eyes narrowed. "Your history is irrelevant, is it?" Elias countered. "Because every time we came close to wiping ourselves out, something stopped us. Not strength, not weapons. Choice." A faint ripple passed through the hall. The Karzen valued inevitability. Choice was a primitive concept to them. Vaelith lowered the scepter slightly, but only slightly. "You speak to delay the inevitable." "Yes," Elias admitted, "but not for the reason you think." The Empress gestured. "You have one breath to convince me otherwise." Elias took it. "You conquer because you fear stagnation," he said. "Your empire expands not out of ambition but terror. You've optimized survival so completely that you've forgotten how to live." A collective hiss rose from the court. Insult was punishable by immediate death. Vaelith's grip tightened. "Careful, human. You rule 1,000 worlds," Elias continued, voice steady. "But none of them chose you. They obey because they must. Humanity was different." Vaelith tilted her head. "Different how?" "We fought each other for centuries," Elias said. "Different nations, different beliefs, different species of thought. But when the stars finally came calling, when you came, we argued, yes. We failed, yes. But we chose to stand together." Vaelith laughed then, a sharp, metallic sound. "And you still lost." Elias smiled faintly. "We lose a lot. That's kind of our thing." The Empress raised the scepter again. The crystal flared brighter. "Enough. Wait, Elias said quickly. Before you do this, before you end us, let me show you something. Vaelith hesitated. You have nothing left to offer. Elias looked around the hall. That's where you're wrong. I offer you the one thing your empire can never take by force. And that is a choice. The word echoed unnaturally loudly. Elias activated a small device embedded in his wrist, a relic the Karzen scanners had dismissed as harmless. The air shimmered, and suddenly the vast hall was filled with light and sound. Images flooded the space. Human memories. Not propaganda. Not military data. But moments. A mother teaching her child to read beneath a flickering light on a Martian colony. Firefighters running into a burning habitat ring. Scientists celebrating a failed experiment because they learned something new. Soldiers dragging wounded aliens, Karzen, to safety during a ceasefire that never made the history books. The court was silent. Vaelith felt something unfamiliar twist within her neural core. These are inefficiencies, she said slowly. Yes, Elias agreed. They're also why we're still here. The images shifted. Humanity's last stand. Not heroic. Not glorious. Desperate ships forming a shield around evacuation fleets. Civilians volunteering for missions with no return. Final messages sent not of hate, but hope. Vaelith saw something then that she had never encountered in any species her empire had consumed. Defiance without hatred. Sacrifice without command. Choice made freely, even when the outcome was loss. You see, Elias said quietly, you think raising that weapon proves your power. But the fact that you hesitate, that's proof of ours. The crystal in the scepter flickered. Vaelith's court erupted in alarmed hisses. Empress, one noble cried. The weapon synchronization is destabilizing. Vaelith ignored them. For the first time in her long reign, she felt doubt. Why show me this? She asked. Why not curse me? Why not beg? Elias met her gaze. Because if you destroy us, you'll never know what you could have been. And if you spare us, you might finally learn. Silence stretched. The scepter trembled. In that moment, Vaelith understood something terrible and beautiful. If she fired, she would remain empress of an empire built on fear. If she lowered her weapon, she would face rebellion, uncertainty, change. She looked at Elias. This fragile, defiant creature who had walked unarmed into her court and reshaped the destiny of galaxies without firing a single shot. Slowly, impossibly, Vaelith lowered the scepter. Gasps filled the hall. The Karzen Dominion, she announced, voice resonating across 1,000 systems, will suspend hostilities against humanity. The crystal dimmed. Elias exhaled, knees nearly giving out. But hear me, human, Vaelith added. Your species will not be vassals. He looked up, surprised. They will be observers, she said. Teachers. A variable my empire has never accounted for. Elias smiled, truly smiled for the first time in months. Careful, Empress. We have a habit of changing things. Vaelith's crest shifted in what might have been amusement. So, I am beginning to understand. Years later, historians would record that the Karzen Dominion did not collapse in war. It transformed. Human advisors spread across alien worlds, not as conquerors, but collaborators. Conflicts once solved by annihilation were debated. Art emerged where none had existed. Music, strange and beautiful, echoed through halls once silent. And Empress Vaelith, once called eternal, would abdicate centuries later, not due to assassination, but by choice. As for Elias Carter, he returned to Earth, scarred but alive, to a species that would never know how close it came to oblivion.